know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfare.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. Hey there, Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns. Just want to comment and say BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for football, baseball, boxing, golf, and much more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn, and many would say a former Raven killer in his past. If we go through some of the archival footage that we have, we'll actually play that on Friday on our show. But JD, how you feeling, brother?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Was able to go on a little space last night on Twitter. I've been talking about this to a few folks. And you know what, man, we still the underdogs, which is fine. I'm good with it. Hey, this is what I wanted it to be. I've said this. I always wanted it the hard road for us to go. So now I feel good about our chances. Like I said, I still don't, the talking heads out there, man, I don't pay them no mind, zero mind. But I feel great, man. I like I said, I love our chances. We're at the high level right now. I think we're hitting on all cylinders offensively. Defense is going to be a good challenge, obviously going against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. But we're up for the task. We're up for the task. This is an exact game that is Spags' specialty. Okay, calling the blitzes and the pressures. So yeah, man, I can't wait till Sunday to come up. So,
yeah, and I will say, I was one of the ones who wanted the cleanest road to the to the AFC Championship game, and you were like, nah, Miles, give us Buffalo, give us Baltimore, give us all of it. So, let us have here we are.
Right, let us have it all. Ooh, let me get my microphone over here. So we're talking. A fault.
And I will say, besides the being an underdog, one thing we talked about, this team thrives on bulletin board material. And some of these players in the Ravens can't help themselves. Marcus Williams said, I forgot what the exact quote, but their safety, Marcus Williams, said he wants them to come to town. This is our house, pretty much, that they're coming to. And then Kyle Van Noy on Pat McAfee's show said Mahomes is nothing against Lamar. So
who said that?
Kyle Van Noy.
Oh.
Mahomes is, quote, nothing against Lamar.
Yeah. So. No. He says that, and it's good to pump up your guy, which you're supposed to do. You're supposed to say all those things, right? It'd be a shock if you went on and said opposite that. So, hey, man, I'll put no stake in it. The thing is, they got to the AFC Championship game, and this is, they on pins and needles because they're pushing for them to try to win it all. It's like, hey, look, we didn't sent the Brink trucks to pay Lamar, and he's got to deliver. He's got to deliver. So we look, man. Like I said, Chiefs we ain't dodging nobody. They ain't worried about anything. They ain't worried about no one. And so we know Lamar is good, but Josh Allen was good. Tua was good, and they had supporting cast around them. But who's standing tall at the end of all of it, right? The Chiefs. And I do look after the smoke is over on Sunday, the Chiefs still going to be standing tall. We're going to be going to, you see that little sign on the back of you? Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl? I see it, okay? That's going to be a repeat, baby. That's exactly what it's going to be. So, yeah, man. Yeah.
And I'll say this too. You talked about you wanted all the smoke this playoffs. You wanted to play against the best. I'll say from Baltimore's point of view, well, the one team they were looking at and they were hoping that was going to kind of flutter was probably Kansas City. Nobody wanted to play Kansas City because Kansas City has the most experience in playing in this from top to bottom. All the players in the roster, they have the most experience in playing deep in the playoffs and playing in these high pressure moments. Whereas Baltimore, not so much, really. I mean, yeah, they've made the playoffs a few times with Lamar, but they finally got that to get to this point. They finally got that monkey off their back, and they got to this point. But now it's like they don't have experience playing in this high pressure situation with Lamar. So the last team they wanted to play was Kansas City. So I think that's very interesting that they have to go up against us. Yeah,
it's new for the obviously some of the players. But Harbaugh, he knows this really well, and so they do have somebody on their side that understands playoffs and getting to where they need to get to. But hey, man, it's when the players out there and you call them plays and you looking at them in their eyes, you're looking to see if guys are blinking or not. That's what they got. You got to do a check. All right, let me see a gut check. Let me see if you're built for this thing. And so. No, it's good, man. This will be a good matchup for us. Look, my thing is this. If the Chiefs, and we'll talk about it, just, as far as like what they need to do is if they protect the football, they go win. And we said this because of their experience. It's not too big for them. Okay. Every guy that's on the Chiefs has been there pretty much. We got most of the guys back from last year. A couple of new faces, but pretty much we got guys that's been there before, right? And we gotten guys that got experience too, the backup guys that we have here. That is something that I always celebrate. On the defensive side of the ball. I think with what we're asking the guys to do, it's very doable. It's very doable. But yeah, of course they're going to have like I said, the Ravens are going to be up. But look, man. We don't worry about any of those things. When you talk about Andy Reid and his experience, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, this is second nature for them. It really is. And so you see the laser focus of what they're doing. Heck, even MVS, okay? Even MVS catching the balls and stuff, and he's shown up in the playoffs, which has been great for us, which we needed. He hadn't really have a stellar, season, but come playoff time, he's showing up. So, players start making plays in big games, and that's what we need to happen again on Sunday.
Yeah. And we're going to get into all that right now. So, obviously, we're the underdogs this week, and pretty much we've been the underdog all season. No one's expected much from us after week 4, and everyone saw our offense wasn't the same, but somehow our defense never got the credit that it deserved. But nonetheless, we're playing against the number 1 seed this weekend. Ravens, number 1 scoring defense. We're number 2. Number 1 in sacks. We're number 2. The Ravens are also number 6 in yards allowed. I believe we're number 2 as well. I think we're number 6 across the board. They have the league lead in takeaways with 31, 18 INTs, 13 fumbles. They're number 2 in red zone efficiency on stopping teams, which is a pretty interesting one because that's something we've had trouble with. Mm-hmm. Offensively, they're 6th in total yards. They're number 1 in rush yards, 4th highest scoring offense, and the 6th highest red zone efficiency on offense. So they're good stopping teams in the red zone, and they're good scoring in the red zone. So that's interesting. So all this to say, this is a pretty damn good football team. This is the number 1 seed in the AFC for a reason.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. And JD, looking at all these experts who are making their picks, the same experts who picked Bills against us, some of the experts who picked the Dolphins against us, pretty much a majority of the expert picks out there are picking Baltimore against us. Sure. Now, we're going to get into the strengths of how we can stop them this weekend. But I want to know, what do you think is a weakness that we have that they can exploit that you're worried about this weekend, that you're kind of concerned about? Because for me, just looking at what we saw last week, I'm looking at the rush yards, what we gave up to Buffalo, and we're playing against a team that's the best rushing offense in the league, and that's where I'm most scared about, because I think that's where we're most vulnerable in this weekend. What are you most worried about, whether it be offensively or defensively against Baltimore?
I think that would be probably my concern as well. Is really stopping the run, and a lot of the yards came last week with Josh Allen, and then of course this past year we've had a couple up and down with guys running the football, but the difference in this game and the Bills game to me is you got to stop Lamar. Not to mention you got Edwards and those guys back there. They do a good job running the football. What's gonna negate all of those things? It's pressure. It's bringing guys. It's shooting the gaps. It's making sure that your gap sound and what you're doing. Okay. If everybody plays a solid game, then you bottle guys up. That's the only thing about it. Like if Lamar starts taking off on you, start making plays with his legs, that's where it becomes dangerous, right? That's always like if you have a quarterback that can run, that's something that you can never account for. All right. It's always a dangerous thing. And so Josh Allen was another one that's hard to bring down last week. He's, we're sitting back in coverage and he just takes off running because we're rushing forward. But if Spags starts bringing guys from different areas and what end up happening with what I start seeing the Houston, the Texans doing, they were coming after him at the very beginning. It just kind of, they made an adjustment and it all changed. But you got to bring pressure. You got to make sure you shoot the linebackers up. The guys up front have to be absolutely stellar in what they do. And we said that before. The last game, it didn't happen. But like I said, we only brought 4 guys. Chris Jones is going to need some help. We're going to need Charles Benahu. We're going to need Karlaftis. We're going to need Warrington, everybody to show up. Dickerson and Pinnell, we need guys to show up on a defensive line and let our linebackers run because we got a good linebacker core. Hopefully Willie Gay is back. It's going to help out too, just in case we had to bring a spy with Lamar, which I'm sure we could do. But also too, I said, hey, maybe we'll bring a DB in to spy Lamar. I think, that you need a fast guy, a fast twitch guy that can run him down, okay, that can mirror what he does, which could help negate him. Our coverage, that's what I love about it. Our strength is our coverage, is our secondary. Not necessarily the Texans and all the other teams that they have played. Our strength are guys in the back end, and that's Snead, that is McDuffie, that is obviously we talked about Reed. Connor, if he's out there, or Mike Edwards, if he gets back. And so, we understand there's some injuries, but we have guys back there that can cover. And so if we need to bring a dude in for the nickel, if we bring a safety, extra guy down into the paint to cover those things, we can do that. We can do the things one-on-one. But that's just some of the things, some of the stunts that you can do. But without a doubt, man, the guys up front's got to have a good game. They just have to have a good game. The game is one of the trenches. That's the key. The game is one of the trenches. But I will say, and I know we're talking about just defensively, how we stop them. Offensively, we got to do the same thing. We're going to run the football with Pacheco, right? We got one of the premier backs in the league, and he's been getting crazy the past 2 games, and we love it. And we need to get the ball to him because our offense runs through Pacheco. So.
Yeah, and looking at their numbers, because sometimes it's always interesting to look at the discourse on Twitter. Right? Yeah, some of this stuff is just like ridiculous, but then when you look at like these next gen stat tweets and you see all these Ravens fans posting these stats and stuff, yeah, it was interesting. Like obviously they're the number 1 team for a reason. Obviously their takeaways, they have the highest plus minus as far as a turnover differential this year, plus 12 in that. And the crazy thing is, if you look at our turnover differential, we're at the bottom of the league in that. Like. We're with teams that didn't even make the playoffs. There were teams that were like top 10 picks with our turnover differential, which is so crazy for a team that's had such a good defense this year. And that's something obviously we're gonna have to get better at. These are young guys still. That's something we have to get better at going forward next year. But looking at their red zone efficiency defensively, allowing teams that was the red zone efficiency number 2 on stopping teams, and that's already a problem that we have. So knowing that they're already good with that, it's like, oh man, does that scare you a bit when you hear about their red zone efficiency as far as stopping teams?
Scare is not a good word to use with me at all. I don't not really scared of much, if anything. To be honest with you, it's things I don't like, heights, but I don't think we had to deal with heights. And so, to me, it's going to be incumbent upon any of those to call some good plays. Okay. And like I said, I think we had to run the ball with Pacheco to open some things up. We do a good job as far as playing with guys' eyes, motioning and putting guys in matchup orders. So that would be our thing, and maybe this game they don't do that. Okay, I understand their turnover differential. Okay, I can't even say the word. Shoot, but the turnovers. Okay, we just had to protect the football. Okay, we had 2 unfortunate fumbles last week, running down actually in the red zone. Okay. One was the like the jet sweep and a reverse, or the pass to Hardman. Hopefully, we are more selective in the plays that we run down there. Okay, we got to trust the guys up front to make plays for us, and it's all about matchups. I take matchups with Travis Kelce and Rashid Rice all day with anybody out there. So that's what you got to do. And at that moment in the red zone, you got to think about players and not plays. It's players and not plays. So the player will be Pacheco, without a doubt, Travis Kelce, Rashid Rice, and PM15 getting them the football. So that's what it is. And if we do that and everybody up front get a hat on a hat, man, we should be good. We should be good. You just got to will yourself. When you get down there in the red zone, it's all about will. I get, you start going through and you hear how good teams are, right? Well, they're good against, certain teams. When I'm looking at, who they weren't necessarily good at, who put a whole lot of points up against them, so they can be scored on. Shoot, I've looked, there's a whole lot of people that got 30-something points on them, all during the year. So when I'm looking at the stats, they can be scored on. They really can. So I'm not really worried about that at all. And I don't think we should be worried about it as much. Any of those guys, they understand that. They understand what they need to do to get things done. But like I said, it do have to be selective in what you're calling down there in the red zone for sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they study the heck out of that 17-10 loss. Not the second loss they had against the Pittsburgh because they didn't play their starters. That first loss they had against Pittsburgh where they lost 17-10. I mean, obviously this. They're looking. Our guys are studying all the game tape all throughout the year. What teams did, what they didn't do against them, specifically the games they lost. So I'm curious to see what that is. What we can kind of take away from some of the losses they had this year. Because I mean, that was the one thing about this year. No one was a world beater. This is a team that lost to the Colts, who didn't make the playoffs. This is a team who lost to the Steelers, and there's a team who lost to the Browns as well. I mean, so so. But just to go back to the question, are you more concerned with their offense or defense?
Offense, because obviously, like I said, there's the element of running with the football, and that's what Lamar gives you. I mean, he's just so fast; he can get on the corner quickly. Also, he can make guys miss. So you definitely got to be able to bottle a guy up. They're bringing an extra lineman in. Like I said, Gus Edwards. I mean, shoot, I forgot they got Dalvin Cook. Okay, that they got to run with. Justice Hill does a good job. I mean, so they got weapons that can run the football, and then they got receivers. And they talking about maybe having Mark Andrews back. I don't know. I haven't really checked out on everything yet. Because it's kind of early on Wednesday, but we'll see exactly what's going to be. But likely he's done a good job catching footballs in the red zone. So that's one thing you have to do. You got to be able to stop the Ravens. You got to stop Lamar Jackson from doing what he does best. Okay, and that's running with the football.
Yeah, no, and all the running backs. I mean, Gus Edwards has a defined role of being that smasher up the middle for them. Justice Hill is a great receiver out of the backfield, and yeah, you throw in Dalvin Cook, and this is all without J.K. Dobbins, their guy who was supposed to be their guy going into the season. So it's gonna be interesting to see. And kind of playing off that, because this week you made a comment on one of our shows about how you would, if you were running the defense this week, you would try to, because we were talking about how when we played Buffalo, first half it seemed like we were kind of sitting back.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of DBs out on the field. We were kind of sitting back, and I don't know. I mean, we were trying to get pressure without having to blitz anything. Second half, we obviously changed up and had a spy and all that stuff. But with this week, you had said that if it was up to you, you would want to make Lamar have to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what would you? And I thought that was interesting. What would you, if you were Spags in the situation? How would you kind of game plan this defense this week?
It has to. You got to pressure. You got to pressure these guys. So if I'm game planning going in, what Spags does well is he brings guys that you don't see is coming. Okay. In Houston, they kind of telegraphed those guys because Houston was like the least blitzing team before they got to the Ravens playing in the game. And so they weren't quite used to like the complexities of the blitzes and guys coming from different spaces, different places like that. But that's Spags special. And so when you do bring blitzes, when you do have guys come up and then you back out, maybe in coverage, that's a difficult task to deal with for any quarterback. So it messes up the line, their count, it messes up who they're going to get. And so if we do those things, I think we'll be successful. I really do. And so what you do is same thing. Then you get, your coverage guys, McDuffie, you get Snead getting, OBJ, and you get them getting on Bateman, and you get them getting on Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is their guy. Okay. He's a fast twitch, really good receiver. Okay. And you just got to stop him. Well, but what do? We learn, get physical. And we got the best physical corners in the league. Okay. That's what the one-on-one. We do it better than anybody else. So I think Spags is going to let those guys play. He's going to let the coverage guys play, and we're going to try to come after you. And we'll wherever we'll let the cars fall where they may. We'll let the cars fall where they may. Okay. But I like at least my thought process of going in, like, why not bring pressure? Because the thing is, if you bring pressure early, then you got them thinking about it all the time. But then next time what you do is you act like you're bringing pressure, and then you drop back, okay? And you sit back and get, catch your football. Look, we know Lamar get the ball up too. We know a joker. He'll turn over one or two to a defense. And so hopefully our defense will catch one or two in their hands. Almost had one last week, didn't quite get it, but hey, might have one this week or two this week. So we're looking for Chris Jones to have a big game. Okay. He didn't have any sacks last week. We didn't have any sacks. And so let's rectify that, with the pressure. Okay. That's what that does. That brings it up. It starts up the process fast for Lamar. Lamar don't want to get the ball out of his hand fast and think faster to do things. They got a lot of plays down the field unless they throw into short to Zay Flowers. And so we'll have somebody pretty much sticky in his hip the entire time. So that's what it'll be. Yeah,
I mean, just looking at their as far as how many yards rushing we're allowing per game this year, 113 yards. Last week, Bills ran for 182 yards against us. And now a lot of people were saying, we kind of mentioned this at post-game wise, that this game against Buffalo was a nice kind of like warm-up to playing the Ravens offense. We kind of mentioned that a little bit because of the kind of dual threat action that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson both pose.
Yeah.
But when looking at their offenses, they're not that similar as far as like kind of the vertical threat. I mean, you don't really see them throwing bombs like the way Josh Allen was trying to second half of that game. You don't really see Baltimore doing that. They kind of matriculate the ball downfield, and they have big plays where Lamar runs for 30, 40 yards, or Gus Edwards breaks one out for 40 yards.
Yeah, but that's the reason I think Lamar gets out running, because nobody gets open. And so, some of the routes that they do run, is kind of the intermediate routes. That does take a little time. And so I don't think they're really a quick scheme guys, getting the ball out immediately. But he does look down the field and make plays. And so the difference is, and I don't really, necessarily agree with this. I think he's a good passer with the football. But if you want to pick your poison, I'd rather him pass the football than run with it. That's what I'd rather him do. And so we know he has a strong arm, but some balls will sail on him. As far as those are the things that, like, okay, his strong suit. What do you want to play on the strong suit? The strong suit is obviously running with the football. Okay, he's a dangerous man, probably one of the most dangerous men to have a football in his hand, running with it since Michael Vick. Okay, and so what do you got to eliminate that. You got to negate it. You have to, and it has to do bringing pressure. It has everybody else sitting back, the ones that need to be back. I say 5 because I think bringing 6 is going to be the key. Just playing pass coverage. All right, let the big dogs eat outside. Let them go. Let you get on Zay Flowers, get physical with him, get physical with OBJ. He don't like it either. He's too Hollywoody. He don't like those things. He doesn't. And so you get in their face, man. You just play ball. Okay. You got to, and this is the playoffs too. It's one and done. You put everything out on the field. You leave it all out on the field. Don't worry about a play coming back to you. You make it right now. That's what you do. You make this thing happen right now. And so this is for all the marbles, man, getting into it, going to the Super Bowl. And I, like I said, with what we have coaching staff-wise with Spags and Andy, I'll take him all day. John, he ain't chopped liver, but, shoot, we got some, Super Bowl champions over on the side. Shoot, a lot of experience in these games. So they'll have those guys ready. And look, and I know the Ravens will be ready too. Okay. The entire city is ready. We understand it's going to be a hostile environment. We don't care about none of that. You know what I said last night on the Spaces? I said, when we go to Baltimore, we're looking to get crab cakes and chin straps. That's what we're doing. Crab cakes and chin straps. That's period. That's what we're trying to do. Pure and point blank. That's it. Like I said, we ain't dodging nobody. And I go back to what I was talking about, the wheelbarrow, getting into the wheelbarrow, right? I think these guys are ready. They're already in the wheelbarrow. They like playing for one another. They like each other. There's a lot of love in the locker room, man, and there's a lot of passion going on. And so when you start seeing these guys, how they really just kind of relate to one another, they want to win for each other. Not saying that Baltimore doesn't, but it's going to come down to the team that wants it the most, right? You got 2 hungry teams. We do, Marcus. It's 2 hungry teams. Well, I seen last week that the Chiefs and the Bills, and I said this, was like the highest rated game of the most viewership. Everybody wanted to see it. Well, guess what? We got another big bill ticket game coming on because everybody wants to see Lamar and Patrick and what they can do, how they can, will their teams to win. I just think that we got a better wheeler of the football than they do. So.
And also too, I think people want to tune in to see the Taylor Swift concert that is a Chiefs football game now. Yeah. That's a little added little juice to it.
Yeah. Come on, Taylor's gonna be there. Jason Kelsey's gonna be there. So it'll be a good time, man. Everybody's gonna be there for this one. I'm telling you, everybody's gonna be there for this one.
I had a few, I'm in the DC area, so I had a few girls that I know message me because I'm a token Chiefs fan around here.
Oh yeah,
They sent me the this thing. Taylor Swift coming to concert coming to Baltimore at the Chiefs game this weekend. Tickets only $600 for nosebleed seats. I'm like, only $600. I was like, yep. I was like, good luck. You can enjoy that. I'll be enjoying that from my home. So
right.
If you're just going to one of those things and paying $600 just to go watch Taylor Swift from the box or whatever, I mean, my gosh, you need to do a little something more with your time.
Yeah. Oh, hey, man. Oh, no.
Imagine paying $600 just to go and watch a box.
Look, I've always said this. I can appreciate talent and what people do. And like you said, I'm not paying $600 to see nobody. Okay. And I guess, it is that like this, people become in awe of others because of the things that they are able to achieve. But Taylor Swift she's a person like anybody else. She's just a very talented person. She does some things a lot of people cannot do. And she should be celebrated for that. For sure. Paying $600 just to see in a box ain't happening. Sorry. Nope. Can't see it. But cheering on all the while doing the same thing. Still cheering on. Love that she's a Chiefs fan. Love that she's supporting her boyfriend, sitting up there with the Kelsey family. I love it all. I love it all. Right. So, yeah.
You mentioned playing in Baltimore. This is something I know just from, being around here and stuff. People always say, like, Ravens fans are probably some of the rowdiest fans. They don't get the credit that how rowdy they are, especially when opposing fan bases come there. I've heard really some awful stories, and obviously any fan base you go, any stadium you go to, you'll hear some really bad stories. You always hear the bad ones. You never hear the good ones. But like I've heard from some of my friends who are Steelers fans who've gone to Baltimore. And they said they've seen fights up the wazoo all the time whenever they go there. My brother, who's a Raider fan, he went to a Ravens game a couple years back, and he said it was pretty miserable experience as far as what he faced with the fans there. And he's a Raiders fan. There's really not much bad blood there. Well, I guess there is if you count the Syracuse tackle on Rich Gannon back in the day. But what in your experience playing in Baltimore? What's the kind of the feeling you get in playing in front of that fan base?
I obviously was able to experience it when Ray Lewis and those guys were playing, and it was very rowdy then. And Baltimore's a hard city. It's a hard city. That Ravens flock they're something else. They are. But I don't look. I used to go to Oakland, okay, and they're not as bad as Oakland was. By no means. I'm sure they have a great fan base out there. They do. They got a couple of championships. And the thing is, they know how to celebrate it. They come out. They do. They come out, and you'll see Raven fans here and there, different places. Matter of fact, my nephew, he's out there, and he's always I'm shocked, but he brought my grandson Lamar jersey, and I said, "Oh, that's not gonna happen. We ain't gonna have that." And that's a couple of years ago. I was like, "Yeah, nah." I was like, "Listen, and I wish I had his jersey here, but I got him my Holmes jersey. I got my grandson. I'm like, this is what we rock around here, okay." I just want you to understand that. I get you a Ravens fan because you live in Baltimore right now. That ain't going to happen, okay? I love Lamar, okay? Don't get me wrong. I love Lamar. But when we talk about walking around this crib, over this house, over this castle, it's going to be Chiefs. That's what it's going to be. Chiefs, and you might see filtered here every once in a while, maybe a Philly thing, just because, I got drafted with Philly, right? I got pictures of Philly. And I'm, of course, me and I got, the uniform and stuff like that. And my family is still kind of loyal, some members, to Philly because that's the first team that took me. They the one that brought your boy in. But other than that, hey, man, we rocking Chiefs over here, baby. That's all we doing. But the flock is good, man. I like the Ravens. It's going to be a hostile environment. They got a lot to cheer for. The Chiefs, man, they done played everywhere. No matter where they go. The crowd ain't even going to be a factor. If you could go up there to Bill's Mafia, okay, by all measures of the word of being crazy, that is what the Chiefs were able to experience.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Baltimore, but, we just not going to be shook by y'all.
Yeah.
No, just not by the 12th man. Okay, or your flock and them little crows running around. Oh, I'm sorry, ravens.
It's true. Going from, and I'm not saying anything about Baltimore's fan base, but going from playing at Buffalo last week and then coming and playing at Orchard Park and then coming to Baltimore. I mean, what we experienced last week, this is going to be like a minor league game comparatively to what we just had last week in Buffalo. Like comparatively for the players. I mean, what that was last week was, I mean, they thought that was like a precursor to the Super Bowl last week, and that's how the fans were treating it, and also with the weather and all that stuff too with it. Yeah,
about snowballs. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, seriously.
Look, they're gonna have, like I said, they're gonna have everybody in the house. Ray and all this, crew's gonna be there. They're gonna bring all the players out. Baltimore's a good city. It's a good city. I always enjoy the city for what they give. the crowd's going to be in it, but the Chiefs, none of that's going to matter. It's not. They're not, like you said. We done played, the biggest fan bases. Okay, the most hostile of environment. They done played in all of those things. Okay,
Yep.
This is no different. It's no different. I don't think it's going to be any bigger.
Yeah, and like you said, we're coming to Baltimore, like the old Wedding Crashers line. We're gonna take the crab cakes and football, baby. We're gonna take both of them.
Yeah, that's right. And chin straps, like I said,
Chin straps. So this is interesting. So obviously we're talking to a tight end extraordinaire here in JD. Baltimore has the most sacks in the league, has the 12th highest blitz rate in the league, which I thought was pretty surprising. I didn't realize they blitz as much as they do. And obviously we know Mahomes shreds the Bills last week when they blitzed him, and historically one of the best quarterbacks ever against the blitz. That's why teams just they try not to do that, but when they do, it's trouble. Mahomes kind of dominates that. But this is a stat I saw from Next Gen Stats. The Chiefs utilize multiple tight end personnel groupings on 61.9% of plays in the first half, their highest rate in a game since 2018 last week. The Chiefs passed on 9 of 13 plays with multiple tight ends on the field, getting 107 yards, about 12 yards per play. So my question is, JD, and this is a great question to ask you. Obviously, we love the 13 personnel. We love the multiple tight end sets. But with a team that blitzes as much as the Ravens do, have the amount of sacks that the Ravens do, how important do you think is the utilization of the multi-tight end sets this weekend against a team that pressures as much as the Ravens do? And also, if you're counting in what we did last week against Buffalo.
I think it's something because the multi-tight end set, right, 12 and 13 personnel, it gives you a little bit more of some structure in the line and blocking, because what a guy ends up doing is you can chip a guy, you can help out, and so it's an extra hat on your defensive ends or the linebacker who might be coming from the outside. And that helps just in the whole integral part of what we're doing in the pass protection. But also, too, it's a weapon. It's a weapon because we can run with the guys. We can throw to our guys. All our tight ends can catch the football, do a great job of just hitting, Noah Gray and Travis Kelce when we need to. They make good big plays. Blake Bell comes in. He does his job as far as, blocking-wise. So we got very capable blockers, from the tight end role. But I think that is something that you have to utilize. You have to utilize these guys because they do a great job. When I said there's the group that's consistent with the Chiefs, 2 of them, no doubt, maybe 3. Okay, that would be, well, we actually have 4, but tight ends are absolutely one of them. I would say it's either the DBs or it's the tight ends. That's the 2 groups that's always consistent. Okay, they do a great job for us. So why not keep utilizing that, right? Especially when you're gonna have some matchup nightmares. Noah getting out there, but also too them blocking and chipping and then getting out because Patrick sees it, he knows, and all of a sudden he knows block, pass, dump, tight end. Okay, Kelce get up the field. No, great, get up the field. So that will stop a lot of that pressure, man. It will. It was it was negated, tremendously. So I all these things we could talk about, like keys to victory. I think what it comes down to, honestly, Marcus, in this game is who makes the least amount of mistakes. That's what it's going to be. If a team gets a turnover or, like you said, the pressures and the sacks, and Patrick does a good job of recognizing things. He calls these things out. Creed does a good job of setting the defense, and these guys up front do a good job because they maulers. We got some guys up front: Donovan Smith, Wanye Morris. We got Joe Thuney, Trey Smith, Creed. They all do a good job on our offensive line. So you stop clowning those guys from coming, you're gonna be all right, man. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah. And also too, like I thought it was interesting. Do you think there's a reason why we utilized the multi-tight end set as much as we did last week? I mean, 2018, we're talking 6 years ago. And I feel like we use multi-tight end sets a lot comparatively to other football teams. Obviously, the Ravens, based on their offense, the way it has been the last few years, yeah, they utilize their multi-tight end sets. But I'm surprised for the first time in that much in 6 years. That's kind of crazy.
It was shocking. I didn't know that, but I did see a lot of tight end sets. But it goes into running the football effectively, having an extra guy in, but also too. The little tight end screen that we run with Kelsey, we know that Noah Gray and Blake Bell's going to be, and even though there's just one play, we know that our guys are consistent, right? When we know, hey, look, if we look at wide receivers, who are we going to put out there? And so we start looking at like, okay, we could probably make one or two. We know Rashee Rice is going to be out there. Hopefully we'll get a couple other guys out there to maybe do some things. But, our tight ends, Noah Gray, pull him out there. Do what he needs to do. And it helps in the run game. Those guys are extra blocker, putting a hat on the guy. But it also, too, it does negate, maybe the effectiveness of the pass rush as well. So, plus it was a good matchup for us. When they decimated linebacker core that they had last week, shoot, why not? Makes sense. Attack the middle.
Yeah, and quite frankly, yeah, I think looking at the Bills' defense last week, they went with a lot more DBs, as we were just overpowering them with our size and with the tight ends.
Yeah,
and obviously the stat was just more about the passing plays as far as that we passed 9 of 13 times with the multi-tight end sets. Obviously, extra time, more blockers in there, but also too the blocking aspect on the running game, because you saw there was times out there when we were just giving the ball to Pacheco and. I mean, he was utilizing his tight ends, Blake Bell, Noah Gray, and Kelsey on the sides. I mean, they were like, it was really, it also was a throwback to when you played. Really, that's what it seemed like to me last week. Is that what you noticed?
I did. I mean, and it's big bodies. That's what big bodies against smaller guys. Okay, big on big. If we got a big on a small guy, and the big guy has to be somebody who can move their feet, who can do all those different things. And who do you employ? Tight ends to do those things, right? Especially when they bring in 6 DBs. But I'm just looking at the pass game. Travis Kelsey had 6, Noah Gray had 3, and the other 2 they had. Well, I'm sorry, Kelsey had 5, Noah had 3. The other 2, next guy in line was Rashee Rice with 4. Yeah. So your 2 tight ends is like your leading receivers. So, and it worked. It worked. I would look. I would take my hat. And I will lay it all on the tight ends. I've always said this. As a player, in our room, we knew we had our stuff straight. We always knew it. You never had to worry about us. Okay? When we played, me and Tony, and Billy, and Chris, and all those guys, you had to worry about anything in our room. We knew we were straight. We was going to get our stuff done. And I see our guys doing the exact same thing. So they just carrying the mantle on for what we had before. We have some really good tight ends here, man, but we got some good tight ends on the team right now. They do a good job of doing everything. Okay. So yeah, man, shoot, it just makes sense. We had a great offensive outing, right? Because of it. So keep that up. Keep it up. And it works well in the red zone. Which
is what I was going to bring up also. I mean, if you look at what we did in the red zone last week, we kind of and you kind of made mention to it with looking at our numbers. Not very many receivers had catches last week. I think only MVS and Rice. I mean, is that it?
Yeah, MVS. Let me see, Rice. Pacheco and Hardman had one. The Hardman, and then H. That's it. That's all. Nobody else.
And then we got to red zone. Honestly, I didn't really see many guys out there besides MVS and Rice, and then our 13 personnel. That's what it seemed like we got to the red zone. We talked about our red zone struggles, and obviously last week we actually looked good in the red zone for the first time in quite a bit. Yeah. Do you think that has something? There's a link to going more tight ends in the red zone?
Of course. This is a matchup nightmare. When you get constricted with space, and that's exactly what the red zone is, okay? Because you just don't have the room to operate. Have big bodies in there can move people around. And tight ends do a good job of, getting up to linebackers, getting up to safeties, and, blocking defensive ends. So you get skinny in the hole. You just need a little bit of room down there just to make something work. That's why I'm not a big fan with bringing in the other tackle. You know, when you got capable tight ends that could do it. You know why? Because you could pass out of it too. So why hamstring yourself when you may have to run play action with that guy? Okay. And do I want a big bumbling guy running a route that has never run it before and catching footballs? No. Bring the tight end in. That's what you do. Bring the tight end in. So when you look at short yardage, you look at that red zone and going in, tight ends are absolutely a weapon. You got to utilize that. And like I said, we got 3 good ones. We got 3 good ones here. So, and they do too. They got a couple good weapons. They're going to try to get it to Likely. Okay. If you know, what's name Andrews come back, they're going to try to give it to him as well. But for the Chiefs wise, man, you see, the proof is in the pudding. I'm looking at the stats. The proof is in the pudding. When we sit there and we watch what they're able to do, the offensive output, the tight ends are directly the key to what we do. Seriously. Shout out to the tight ends, baby. Shout out to the tight ends. That's the brotherhood, baby. Come on. That's a good question. I love it. I love tight end questions. Love it.
And they're paying homage to you and Tony and doing a really good job of paying homage to you guys, the throwbacks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'll tell you what, when we showed this film against, on Friday, and it's kind of us back in the day. They keep talking about the offensive line, but what you see in this whole offensive line, you see number 89 knocking a hose down. You see the tight ends catching footballs and touchdowns. Okay, you see all of this happening. So don't leave us out of it. We were stellar. Okay, an integral part of what we did, integral part of what we did. So I think maybe sometimes they forget I was a tight end, how big I was to everybody else, and where I was modeling defensive end and linebackers, man. It's like, tight ends ain't supposed to do this. You ain't supposed to bench press a defensive end into the end zone. JD does. That's what I do. So
JD was giving him the business.
Business. Yes, sir. Y'all know.
It's someone I don't know. I feel like it was on Twitter when I posted the Joe Thuney what you said about how you had the torn pec and his pec strain and being able to keep it in here. If he gets outside of that, then he's kind of in trouble anyways. But we need to keep everything in here. Yeah. And someone commented was like, yeah, but he was a tight end. It's a little different for a guard. It's like, wait, okay,
what?
Did you watch JD play? Because JD wasn't your traditional tight end, just running routes. I mean, I don't know. I think some people just don't know history.
Dude, listen, and that's when you could tell somebody that they just don't have the knowledge. Okay, they don't, bless their heart. They just don't understand. It's no different, right? And like you said, I knew I had to block inside. I was on the wing, field goal. And so I had to switch to the other side, obviously, because I didn't want to push this back. But everything I did, I'm playing 75% of the snaps and I'm blocking. That was my thing. That's what I did. They have no clue. Sometimes, it was kind of, one of the dudes asked me last night in the spaces. He was like, hey, man, what do you think? What should I see that I haven't seen before? I'm a young guy. I was 5 when you were coming in. And, what do you think I need to see? I said, man, I want you to recognize and go back and see how good of a team that we had. Our offense led the entire league with 3 to 4 years in a row. I said, but we were damn good. We were damn good up front. We had a hell of an offense, the best in the league. And so it didn't matter what teams knew we were running. We were still handing them, giving them the business. Like you said, we was giving the business to them. We saying we're going to run right here, you stop us. And they couldn't stop us. Didn't matter. So whether it was me or Tony or Will Shields or Willie Rofe or Brian Waters, T. Rich, Casey Wigman, John Tate, John Wellborn, I could go on and on. That's what was going on out there. And what we was doing, man, we was giving jokers absolute headaches. Speed knots on their head. But I said, man, you need to go back and look at some of this video of what we used to do. But I said, we were a machine. We were an absolute machine. So.
Yeah, at least there's people out there who want to go out back and watch them because like for me it's like I get like was your Chiefs fan you don't know anything about the early 2000s like well I started watching during the Alex Smith era. It's like wait that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, right, man. I get it. No, hey, look, I get it. And he was a new fan. I said, but new fans just need to understand that. I know sometimes I hear people go back to like that whole like Brady Quinn and all that before then. I wasn't part of that. That was a bad era. Okay,
Yeah.
We had some great times. We had some good teams. When I played.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey man, we weren't part of that. I like that whole because I understand it was like a dark time. In the in the what's that? Oh shoot, I was going to use a Star Wars reference.
Oh, the
in the Imperial and the Alliance or whatever during that time.
Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, but hey, man, we had bright days. We had bright days. We should have won a Super Bowl, Marcus. We should have won a Super Bowl, possibly 2 of them. Seriously, we had the talent. Our problem was we just had a problem stopping people.
Could stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, but we had talented guys on defense. I think obviously some of the scheme probably wasn't suited for our guys. If Spags had our guys, if we had Spags, man, it might have been a whole different thing.
Yeah, no, he talked about it a lot about how the schemes made no sense sometimes. Yeah.
And you put guys in jeopardy. There was a lot of things that really didn't. It wasn't no continuity. Didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And you started getting away from the whole plays instead of players, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, we did have a lot of talent on that defense too.
Yeah,
so.
we did.
But before we move away from this tight end topic, I wanted to ask before we get to game picks. I wanted to ask you this. So on the New Heights podcast, Kelsey's podcast with his brother. A lot of good nuggets in that episode, but this is interesting. I thought this was really cool, and I wanted to hear what you had to say. So Kelsey blames the McCole Hardman fumble on himself. So, quote, I owe McCole a effing new car. I owe much to him. My block was one that knocked the ball out, and I've been effing sick. I told him I apologize to him every single time I effing saw him today, and I'll apologize to him again. My guys are trying to be great and get the ball in the end zone. He finished the play better than I did. They got a hand on the ball. I owe my guy big time. I feel for my guy. There's nothing worse than giving up the ball, especially in that situation. That shit sucks. McCole is fired up to getting after it again. I know he wants another opportunity to show what he can do, and sure enough, you will see him next Sunday come up at the right time, and that should never effing happen. So he's saying it was his block because it was it Poyer that made the play on the ball, and I guess that was his block.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear a tight end say that, kind of blame it on himself, obviously that's a good leader move to do that. But JD, as a tight end, when you miss a block, does that obviously McCole fumbled the ball, Kelsey didn't fumble the ball, but missing the block, how is that equivalent to dropping a pass for a tight end?
It is, especially if you might be one of the key blocks. Everybody's trying to do their job, and if you miss your blocking, the guy you're blocking makes the play. That's even worse because you're just hoping, oh my gosh, I'm not making I hope he doesn't make the play. I hope he's not in there. And if he makes the play, you're like, oh my gosh. So, hey man, no, I get it. He's just holding himself accountable for what he didn't do right on that play. And the thing is, McCole's got to hold himself accountable for what he didn't do right on the play. But it's your partner, man, jumping on the grenade for you. And I get it. Everybody's got a job to do. Everybody needs to do their job. And so, to me, there's other plays you probably could have ran, but if we just talking about that particular play and the fumble in itself, hey man, yeah, I mean, if Travis sees it and that's how he feels and he get the block, yeah, but shoot, he's got to make that play. He's got to make it. So I'm not telling him anything that he doesn't know. He's saying it himself. But the same thing with McCole, he's got to make sure that he holds on to the football, right? Because you're always going to have guys come in and punch at it, kick at it, do all those different things, try to get the ball out of your hand. You got to make sure you secure the football. That's what you have to do. So I'm looking for McCole Hardman to come and have a good game. Hey, how about that? Last week, that's over with. Hey, move forward. We need you this week, and we need you in the Super Bowl. That's the way I look at it. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Water under the bridge.
And Hardman's not historically, but he's dominated the Ravens. He's had some highlight plays against the Ravens in the past, and that was like when they had like a top 10 pass defense too. So it's not like anything different from what we've experienced before against them.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. One thing I don't like hearing, and people are so quick to just give up on a guy. I don't want to see no more of my Hardman. Don't run him ever. Why is he's a waste of this? And people go in on him. I'm not like that. As a player, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to say, well, don't give him the ball or, sit him or just, I'm not going to do that. I've been in the locker room. I've been on the field. I wouldn't want nobody giving up on me because I messed up or, I didn't do something correct. Yep. So it's easy to say when you out here, see, this is the whole wheelbarrow thing, right? This is the whole wheelbarrow. Because if you're all the way in, you're all the way in riding the wheelbarrow. And that's everybody that's on the Chiefs, you got to ride with them, okay? That was my exact point. If you ain't heard about the wheelbarrow, go back to our show and look at it. I might talk about it again on Friday. I don't know. We might play it. But I'm telling you, look, you got to trust the guys. If guys mess up on plays, then so be it, they mess up. But you got to move forward. It's one snap and clear. That's the way it's got to be. Fans are not like that because they got replays. They got all these different things. They dissect it the way they want to. But for players, you got to forget about that and just go and start moving forward, man. Try to do more, right? Because you still got a job to do. Hello, you still got a job. And so McCole can still help us. He's a very capable player. The game that he had before coming into the playoffs, he had a great game. Catching deep passes. I mean, he was killing them. And so that's the guy we need to see. We need to see the focused up McCole Hardman. Okay. I still got faith in him. I just say the selected play that we ran shouldn't have probably been that. I want to run jet sweep with Cole. I want to run the reverse or the fly motion. I want to do all those things with McCole. Maybe not at that exact time as me, who's called plays before. That would have been my first choice. Not even my second. So, especially when I see my running backs doing what they was doing. Yeah. But I think it's just other plays. But I'm without a doubt in support of McCole Hardman. I hate it when people just immediately just dismiss people because they messed up. We've done that to MVS. All of a sudden, people start loving him again. I'm going to give him love because I knew we needed this guy, okay? We could talk about how much money he's making and all of that. Well, look, we still employing you for a job, okay? I'm not going to take however much money he was making and put him on the edge of the bench. It does nothing for us. Especially when we still need him. We're going to utilize this guy. I don't care what it is that you need to do. If you're not being able to contribute, doing it by catching the football, you're going to do something else. You're going to block your butt off. And I better see it. If you're not getting your blocks and you're not catching the football, then it's like, okay, now that's different. Then you sit a guy. But as far as like a dude, look, he had a bad game, by all measures because, he had two touches and 2 fumbles. But he's a much better player than that. We've seen it in the past, like you said. So I'm just not dismissive of players. So I'm supporting McCole Hardman and all the guys out there on the Chiefs. I'm in the wheelbarrow, Marcus. I'm in the wheelbarrow because I've been in the locker room and I know what it means to be on a team. And you just don't count guys out. You don't dismiss them. You don't throw them to the wayside.
Yeah, and I think people, if they want to dismiss McCole Hardman, then dismiss Andy Reid's play calls. Then you can play that game all throughout the thing.
Where you want to start, right? Where you want to start? Really.
Yeah. So that McCole, I expect him to play up for this game, and Andy does love going back to guys who have made mistakes to kind of give him that confidence boost again. So I could definitely see him having a big play against the Ravens this week, and we're gonna need all hands on deck for this game. So
I I could see something like McCole Hardman because of the guys they have on the other side. He might want to show out, right? Because you see Zay Flowers, OBJ, and all those guys. McCole, he likes that. He likes kind of that attention, doing things. He wants to show up like, hey man, I'm one of the big dogs too, right? Yeah. So we'll see. So
then we're going to get into that right now. Our game picks, JD, another AFC Championship game for our Chiefs. So Sunday at 3 p.m., our Chiefs will travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Chiefs are a 3.5-point underdog. This is the third time that Patrick Mahomes is a underdog in the playoffs. First time being the Philadelphia Super Bowl last year, second time being last week against Buffalo, and third time being at Baltimore this weekend. The weather will be 45 degrees and cloudy at kickoff, so perfect football weather, not this negative 30-degree stuff. So that's golden. This is Mahomes is 3-1 against Lamar, or 3-1 against the Ravens in regular season play. 12 touchdown passes against them. Last time he met the Ravens was in 2021. The famous CEH fumble at the end of the game at Baltimore, where Mahomes had 343 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, but we lost 36-35. So, there's been some good battles between the two teams as of late. So JD, 3.5-point underdog at Baltimore. Who do you have, and what is your score on Sunday?
And so this one kind of just jumped out at me. And I look at what our game was, the hard-fought game, but I think I was like, I like that score. But I got us winning 27-24 this game.
Wow.
27-24. And I don't even know if they're going to get to 24, to be honest with you. But I know they got, Justin Tucker, and Joker can kick from anywhere. Out in the parking lot, that Joker can kick. So they'll get some points like that. But I think our Chiefs, man, we just going to we'll go down, we'll score on them. And I think, butt kicker, Buckner kicks 2 field goals. And so that's how I got the score to 27-24. But all the things that I talked about, what we had to do to stop Lamar, I think we'll do that. Fourth quarter, they're going to try to come back. He's going to have to utilize his legs somehow, try to will themselves to win. But I don't think it's going to be enough against us, man. I think we're gonna jump out on them. We're gonna get on them early. We're focused up. We know what we need to do, and as long as we're not worried about any of those things, about who's on the other side of it, which I don't think we will, we're gonna be fine. But I got the Chiefs 27-24.
Wow, interesting. Well, I'm not surprised by you picking the Chiefs. I'm with you on the Chiefs this week, and I just think that gets to a point here where when you get to a certain spot in the playoffs and you're going against a quarterback or in a team who's kind of new to this whole thing as far as being this deep into the playoffs, it's a lot of pressure, whether you're at home or away. It doesn't really matter. That pressure is still going to be mounting.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it helps to be at home, but you're going against Mahomes and Andy Reid, and that seeing those guys on the other sideline, we're going to see what Lamar has got. We're going to see if this can ignite and bring this out of him, because a lot of people are doubting him, say he can't win the big game. So it's a huge game for Lamar's legacy. And then obviously it puts a stamp on Mahomes being in that GOAT discussion that everyone's been talking about for a very long time. Mm-hmm. But the over-under in this game for the total points is 44.5 points. You have a 27-24, so you have a little bit under this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be a good one, though. I'm looking at the I haven't begun my betting research for this game yet, JD, but it looks like they have the total yards for Mahomes and Lamar as far as passing wise. They have it set for Lamar Jackson at 211 yards passing.
Okay.
And they have Patrick Mahomes at 240 yards passing.
Okay.
And Lamar's rushing 65.5 yards is his number they're setting it at.
All right.
Yeah. It's gonna be a really good game.
It's gonna be a really good game. Yeah.
Do you think we could? So you think we control the lead from the get go? We kind of controlled the game, or is it going to be a little bit kind of how last game we were down this first half, we make adjustments, come back the third quarter?
I think we go down and we score first 2 possessions. I think Ravens scored probably their first win, start out the second, and then the game goes as it goes from that point. But I think we'll get up there 14, probably like 14-10 early, and then we'll start doing some other things to kind of get in the red zone. But I think the way that we're starting to kind of peak and we're starting to come up a little bit on offensively, figuring these things out, we look a lot better. We have been for the past 4 weeks. We're going to continue that streak of what we've been doing. And so I'm not really worried about their defense at all. I'm not. There's some good players, but man, Clowney and all those guys, man, we'll stop all of that. We'll stop all of that. Our guys are too good. Rashee Rice has been incredible for us. Travis Kelce's as good as always. And we need some guys from the outside to show up. So, yeah, this might be a good game to see McCall Hardman or Richie James, maybe MVS, Justin Watson. We got guys to get things done. So, but also Pacheco. We got to go with 10. We got to. And then CH come out there. So it's going to be different. And look, they know it's different. They know it's not, look, you're not seeing anybody else from Pittsburgh or you're not seeing these guys. It's the Chiefs. It is the Chiefs. They understand how difficult of a task it's going to be to beat this team. They know that. They know that. They would have loved to have anybody else. Bills, Miami, they'd love to have anybody else but the Chiefs. But the Chiefs. That's a fact. That is a fact. This is the nightmare that came true. The Grim Reaper is there. That is a fact. So yeah.
Yeah, Jenny, hearing you talk, man, I got goosebumps, man. Like I cannot wait for this game this weekend. This is going to be. I mean, I think every AFC Championship game I would get the same feels with this, and it never gets old. It's one of those feelings. But like, yeah, it's going to be a really good game. And then you also talk about the kind of the connection that Harbaugh and Andy Reid have.
Yep.
It's going to be a good one. But yeah, 27-24 is what you have. I was thinking about this one. I think it's going to be 31-21. I think we win by 10. So very similar. But yeah, I hope it's less stressful than last week. I hope we kind of take us a lead and kind of sit on that lead throughout the game, not kind of have to worry about them driving, scoring, or tying, and having to think about a wide right action.
Yeah. Dude, them jokers up front, man, our D-line just got to do a good job. If they do that, they show up, man, we're going to be fine. Spags is going to bring a whole lot. Lamar better be ready because we're coming after him. So.
Yep. Spags, I mean, like we said, I mean, he's a great DC. If he is able to get past the crazy Mike McDaniel offense and then the Josh Allen experience and then beat Lamar, he could be a name that might surface on some of these head coaching searches. I hope not, but like, I mean, he's gone through the gauntlet. I mean, we've gone through the gauntlet. We always talk about Mahomes going through the gauntlet, but Spags to whip up these kind of things that he's cooked up so far in this playoffs, in the last few playoffs. I mean, he's a name that should be up there, but you never know. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he stays. Selfishly, I hope he stays as our DC. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we hope everybody enjoyed our episode. JD, Tasia, and I will be back on Friday, 7 p.m. on our YouTube channel. Chief Concerns, 7 p.m. We're gonna have our best bets of the weekend. We're also gonna have some bringing in some archival footage of a Ravens and Chiefs game from yesteryear, where the Chiefs offensive line and JD, the tight ends, dominated one of the best defenses ever in the Ravens defense, the world beaters. And that night they were not the world beaters, and that was at Baltimore. So maybe giving a little taste of what we're going to see on Sunday.
A preview of it, no doubt about it. Absolutely, no doubt.
All right, everybody. Well, we'll see you guys Friday at 7 p.m. on our channel. And then Sunday post-game show will be right back here on Bleacher Report. Love you guys. JD, love you, brother.
Love you too. All right, we'll see y'all later.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.